Webheads, comic book fans, welcome to another episode of After the Poll, and this is the video series where I take 5 of my most highly anticipated comics and see if they live up to the hype. And if you want to see my entire rundown of all the comic books that I read this week, then you can check out my video series called Worst to First, where I do a rapid review of all the comics I read. So before we get started on this week's episode, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to cardmafia.com. Poker night will never be the same again. Check out cardmafia.com for some of the most exquisite playing cards ever imaginable. The casing actually has a special feature, and inside are the playing cards. The design that it takes to make these cards are absolutely exquisite. These cards are much more durable. They don't stain, they don't tear as easily. And of course, when you flip this upside down, you get to see Spider-Man is on this card. So whether you're a Spider-Man fan, you're an Iron Man fan, you're a Thor fan, Avengers fan, or other themed decks, you can go on to cardmafia.com. You can order your deck today and you can be the boss of game night. You can use my link in the description box below and you can help support the channel. So coming in at number 5, we have Exterminators. This is issue 1. Now, newest X book coming out from Marvel Comics. This one is from Leah Williams, and I was a little hesitant about this book because it's another X book, and I'm just like, oh man, what are we gonna have that's going to be different about this book? But it had some cool characters in there. It's got Jubilee, it's got Dazzler, and it's got Boom Boom in here, right? And what I found different about this book is that it had nothing to do with all the stuff that's going on in the X-Men right now. It's kind of like this different story, and it's just your normal girls' night out that has gone wrong. And for some reason, I really enjoyed it. It was like a fresh breath air. This book had a lot of action. The artwork in this book was actually really good. Here you get to see the opening pages here with Dazzler on roller skates defeating some vampire monster-like creatures. It's very bright, it's very colorful. All the characters look gorgeous in this book, and I liked it. I had a lot of fun. And so what was the story about now? Well, in the beginning, we wound up getting to see Dazzler breaking up with her boyfriend because she found him cheating on her, right? And so what happens is she winds up calling for a girls' night out to get over the breakup. And again, we don't get to see that too much, especially in mutants these days, where they just get to have a normal everyday life instead of fighting the bad guys, right? And so we get to see these 3 go out on the town doing shots and stuff like that. And this book is you know, more mature themed. It has a lot of cursing in it, and it has a lot of, you know, drinking in it and stuff that you don't normally see in Marvel. So again, it pushes the envelope in a little bit. Again, we get to see our characters dancing, have a good time, and then all of a sudden they find out that they wind up getting drugged. There's something in their drinks that is making them hallucinate, and then eventually they pass out. And what happens is you find out that her ex-boyfriend has been an actual vampire this whole time. And so what happens is they capture the girls and they put them through this ringer, like this arcade type of style thing. You know, the villain Arcade, he's just like them. He puts them in this arena, and then all of a sudden they're in this maze and they're trying to find their way out of this maze. So you get to see like Jubilee driving a monster truck. You get to see Boom Boom fighting some vampire monsters. You get to see Dazzler trying to make her way out of the maze as well. They eventually all meet up with each other, but at the very end of this issue, when they do meet up with each other after a bunch of cool lines and stuff like that, the person that you see that's going against them is actually Laura. And I was like, oh wow, you know, I actually didn't see that coming. Now you do see Laura on the main cover of this book, and I was like, well, how does she fit in this? Because she wasn't introduced, but now it looks like she is going to be fighting our heroes here. So I don't know, this book was a nice surprise. It felt like a breath of fresh air when it comes to a mutant book, and I'm looking forward to issue 2, so I definitely recommend this one. Coming in at number 4, we have Nightwing. This is issue 96, and this is the conclusion to Tom Taylor's first story arc. Finally, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. What can you expect from this book? Well, the artwork is always very gorgeous when it comes to the Nightwing books. I'm not going to deny that. And the action in this book was very good as well, as you get to see one final brawl between Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and Blockbuster here. That's really what this book was mainly about here. Trying Nightwing to finally own the city of Bloodhaven and no more under the rule of Blockbuster. So gorgeous artwork, gorgeous fight scenes in this book. Love how Nightwing took control of the fight and showed Blockbuster who was boss here. You get the city coming together to put out the fires that was created by Blockbuster. You get to see all the betrayal of the villains towards Blockbuster as well. So everyone was working against him. The one great thing, though, that Tom Taylor has always done from the beginning of when I started following him, when he was writing Superior Iron Man and stuff like that, is he does character moments so well. Here we get to see this scene right here where I forgot this guy's name, where he is giving Blockbuster the finger, and they point out the comics code of authority there, and there's all these cursing as he's driving away. It was so hysterical, man. And then once the fight is over and the book actually calms down, what really made this book good, and again more Tom Taylor moments, was the relationship between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon here. It was so well done. It was like a scene where you expect in a typical comic book, say even Spider-Man, for instance, where it's great power comes with great responsibility. Whoever I love always gets hurt, so I can't be involved with you. Well, when Dick Grayson says that, Bab starts laughing. She's like, ah ha ha. She's like, are you kidding me, Dick Grayson? She's just like, we're in it through the thick and thin. We're, Batgirl and Robin, or Batgirl and Nightwing, or whatnot. And it was such an awesome moment that these two shared, and I love seeing this relationship slowly come together and these guys getting closer to each other, and I love them being together. And at the end of the comic, we wind up seeing Heartless once again, who's overcome his injuries when you thought he was dead, and he basically takes down Blockbuster, and it looks like for right now Blockbuster is no more. And now we get the end of this story arc. Now, finally, this story arc ends, and I think we're going to get kind of a filler story arc, because something's going to happen with Nightwing when it comes to the Dark Crisis. He's obviously going to ascend. Something's going to happen to him, because we got to see it on all the news articles that something greater is going to happen to him. He's on the cover of these books and stuff. So nevertheless, when it comes to this issue, wasn't the greatest story. It's very, very decompressed story, but again, those character moments is just absolutely awesome. Coming in at number 3, oh my gosh, DC War of the Undead Gods. Guys, let me tell you, this could be the best comic book week of 2022. All the books I read so far were really, really good. I've already read more than 5 comic books. This could be the week of the year. So much great stuff. It's so hard for me to put a ranking on these books, but DC's War of the Undead Gods, I mean, you get to see our heroes back against the wall when it comes to Darkseid making his way into this comic book. The artwork is absolutely great. This is another Tom Taylor book, and here we get to see Barbara come through, and she's trying to meet up with her son, right? And they come across the boom tube, but the boom tube is affected by the anti-life equation, and if you go through that thing is going to kill you. The only thing that can go through these tubes is the undead, right? And Darkseid is part of that undead. And again, the first issue started off as kind of like the end of a movie, and everything is perfect, and they recovered, and now everything's going all to shit again. So we get that little introduction of what's going on. It was explained to you what these tubes are, and the mother boxes have been affected by the anti-life equation as well. And then we get to see Darkseid come through, and he actually destroys Sinestro's home planet. There was a distress call that was laid out to him, And what happens is we get to see Sinestro try to go to the planet and see if they can save it. Brainiac is given all kinds of explanations of what's going on to Superman and whatnot. And in a faith of trust, they gave him the Kandor city, which was kind of cool, the last city of Krypton. There were some good lines in here as well with Guy Gardner, as he's like the best guy or the smartest guy. So even in the very darkest and gruesome of books or storytelling, Tom Taylor always finds a way to make a lighter moment in a book, which I appreciated here. But again, the thing that really got me the most was the end of this book, where we get Sinestro as he's going back to his home planet to try to take on Darkseid. Supergirl is infected. We got to see that at the beginning of the first issue, and right away she interferes with the whole thing, the whole battle, and she takes the mother box and she puts it on Warworld, and Warworld's infected, and just all shit hits the fan, man. And Sinestro just says his one last goodbye to his daughter, and he gets his freaking head ripped off, and Darkseid becomes a fucking Yellow Lantern. Like, oh my god, dude, this book is so freaking good. I love this book. There's so many good books this week, in so many ways, and so many elements. I love when heroes get defeated and their backs are against the wall and somehow they have to find a way to prevail. This was so good. Great artwork, good character moments, great violence. Oh my god, guys, please buy this book. Coming in at number 2, we have Donny Cates' and Ryan Stegman's new book called The Vanish Issue 1. This main character here, his name is Oliver. He is posing as a bad guy, as he is in hopes that the good guys, which are actually bad guys, are going to go after him. It's kind of confusing, but it is actually a really interesting book. It's very original-like. I love the character work. I love the artwork. If you love Ryan Stegman's artwork, you're going to really love this book. All the characters look good. The facial expressions are great. The coloring is really well done in this issue as well. And you get to learn about the main character. The main character's name is Oliver. He was the chosen one to save the land of the Mistlands, and you get to see a real pretty cool backstory of what the Mistlands were, how all the students were trained, how it was actually destroyed, and how Oliver, the chosen one, found a way to destroy the main bad guy. However, even though they destroyed the leader, all his disciples went off running to Earth, and they're causing chaos throughout Earth. They're kind of in disguise. It's kind of hard to find them, but this was a very good story. I really enjoyed it. You got a really, in-depth look of all the history, and that's what I really appreciated. So not only did it build that world, but it also built the characters a little bit as well. So by the time I got to the end of this book, I was like, oh wow, this seems like a really interesting book. It looks like Oliver's going to start his journey again, and he's going to pose as a super villain because all of Vanish's disciples were posing as superheroes. So what way to meet each other is when a superhero does battle against a bad guy. It's like role reversal, right? Very original. Love this book. I can't wait for issue 2. I think Donny Cates does it again. All right, guys, so just a quick reminder. I want to remind you about the live stream I do every Tuesday night with my friends Kat Comic Uno and Brant Fowler, called Comic Book Weekly. It takes place at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk about our top 5 comics. We talk about all the big books that were released and comic books worth of news. So again, guys, join us Tuesday night, 10:15 p.m. Eastern, Comic Book Weekly. Coming in at number 1, we have World's Finest. This is issue 7. Holy cow, guys. Mark Waid has done it again. This book is so awesome as we get to see a new character introduced in this world. And this character's name is David, and he originated from a different Earth, right? And it's another Earth that has Gotham that experiences the Krypton effect. It actually winds up blowing up, and his parents send him away, just like Superman. It blows up. He goes through this rift, and all of a sudden it finds a different rift, and he goes through that rift, and then here's Batman and Superman getting ready to find out what ship is coming through into this Earth. And we wind up seeing our heroes meet David for the first time. And David is lost, he's confused, everything that is bad has possibly happened to him has happened to him. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He's experiencing powers. Like, he basically lights himself on fire. Superman has to take him to Kandor and, you know, just run some tests on him and stuff like that. And while this is all happening, there's so many great character moments in here. Just one moment, in fact, that I'm showing you right here, we got Superman flying, and David's like, holy crap, you can fly. And you got Tim Drake on his back. He's like, up and away. Like, there's so much great stuff that happens in this book. And we get to see that he gets a little suit of himself, and he wants to meet his parents in this Earth. They think that they're going to recognize him, but he doesn't understand that just because what happens on another Earth, it's not going to be the same on this Earth. So he winds up getting a lot of bad news, and you feel so bad for the kid, you know? I love how Mark Waid wrote this character, because you never met him before. This is the first time that you meet him, but what he's experiencing, you experience, and he does a great job at the loss of, you know, him not having his parents, and you feel bad for the kid. And Superman looks like he's kind of taking him under his wing. This book does show some nostalgia moments, obviously, when they show the Batcopter in here. Dude, it was so good. Overall, this was a fantastic book, and as I'm showing you here, the last page, we get to see David is going to be hanging out with the Teen Titans. Dude, come on. Like, this book just keeps delivering every day. And what's great about it is it's not just a Batman Superman book. It says Batman Superman, World's Finest, but this does such a great job at highlighting so many characters from the DC universe. #1 book. Definitely recommend it. I don't know who's not reading it, though, that reads DC comic books. So, will World's Finest hold that #1 spot? Find out on Sunday on the series called Worst to First. So, we have Creepshow, issue 1 to still read. Radiant Black, issue 18. We have Barbaric, issue 2, Axe to the Grind. Iron Cat, issue 4. We have Strange, issue 6. R.L. Stine, Stuff of Nightmares, issue 1. X-Men Legends, issue 2. Titans United, Blood Pact, issue 1. Judgment Day, issue 5. Carnage, issue 6. Fantastic Four, issue 47. Rogues Gallery, phenomenal series, issue 3. Edge of Spider-Verse, issue 4. And Gunslinger Spawn, issue 10 or 11, wherever we're at there. Guys, there's a lot of books out, but there are some great ones. We'll see what happens. If you love this video, guys, take a minute. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll leave you more content right here to click on. In fact, this is my entire comic book haul, all the books I picked up this past current week. And of course, guys, remember, keep buying, keep collecting, but always read those comics. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon. Bye.